The silence of space stretched endlessly, a deep, cold black that seemed to swallow all light. Stars twinkled faintly in the distance like scattered diamonds on a velvet cloth, but nothing moved. Until the alien Armada arrived, hundreds of massive warships appeared suddenly, like a shadow rising from the void. They formed a perfect formation, vast and terrifying, each ship bristling with weapons, shields shimmering with a greenish hue. The alien commanders felt invincible. They had never met a force they could not crush. Every planet they conquered had fallen within days. This was no different, or so they believed. At the center of the Armada, Commander Varkan stood tall on the bridge of his flagship. His 4 eyes scanned the formation with pride. Every ship was a testament to alien engineering, power, and control. "Prepare to engage," he commanded, his voice echoing across the bridge. "The humans will surrender before our first strike." He had heard of humanity only in whispers. A young species, slow to develop space travel, fragile compared to his fleet. Varkan's officers laughed at the thought of one human warship standing against them. They thought the humans were weak, disorganized, and insignificant. The Armada had no doubts. They never did. Far ahead in the endless darkness, a small human warship floated silently. It was tiny compared to the alien dreadnoughts, almost fragile, but there was something about it that made the alien sensors pause. Its shields shimmered softly, not in fear, but in quiet confidence. The ship seemed to wait, as if it had known the Armada would come. Captain Elena Hayes stood on the bridge of the USS Dauntless, her hands resting lightly on the console. Her eyes, sharp and steady, scanned the approaching alien fleet. She did not panic, and she did not shout orders like a storm. She spoke with calm authority. Steady. "Let them come." Her voice carried a quiet fire, a determination that flowed through her crew. The humans were outnumbered hundreds to one, yet there was no fear, only resolve. Her first officer, Lieutenant Mark Reynolds, leaned close. "Captain, they're enormous. Are we ready for this?" Elena smiled faintly. "We're always ready. Remember, they see only our size. They don't see our spirit. That's their mistake." Back in the alien fleet, sensors detected the human ship. Varkan's antennae twitched with curiosity. "One ship?" he said incredulously. "One small, puny vessel? This is almost amusing." He laughed, a sound like grinding metal. "Fire everything. Let's make this quick." As the first green beams of alien energy shot through space, the Dauntless's shields flared. The humans felt the familiar tremor of a near hit. But their ship did not falter. The shield absorbed the attack without a scratch, sending a message louder than words. "We will not fall easily." Elena's heart did not race. She felt a quiet pride as she observed the approaching threat. "Target their lead ship. Fire when ready," she said softly. Her crew moved in harmony. Each action precise, each strike calculated. A pulse of energy shot from the Dauntless, striking the front alien vessel squarely. Sparks erupted, alarms blared, and for a brief moment the alien fleet wavered. Varkan froze. The first strike, the easiest strike, should have been nothing. But the human ship had survived. And more than survived, it had struck back. His pride wavered. His mind, trained to expect submission, now trembled with the first hint of doubt. The human warship, tiny against the vast Armada, floated with quiet confidence, like a lone flame in a storm. It did not retreat. It did not flinch, it waited. It dared the aliens to continue. And in that waiting, in that silent defiance, the humans whispered a warning that no alien could ignore. "We are here. We will fight, and we do not surrender." The stars above, witnesses to the coming battle, seemed to shine a little brighter. Something had changed. Something that would ripple across the galaxy. Humanity had arrived, and they were ready to show the universe that courage, heart, and determination could outweigh even the most overwhelming odds. The alien Armada closed in like a shadow, swallowing the stars. Hundreds of massive ships, each armed with devastating weapons, loomed over the tiny human warship. Commander Varkan's confidence had begun to falter. His eyes, usually sharp with pride, now flickered with something unfamiliar: concern. One ship, one small, fragile human ship, had survived their opening attack without damage. "Captain Varkan," his first officer whispered, the words trembling. It absorbed our energy. None of our weapons made a dent." Varkan's 4 eyes narrowed. "Impossible. Our weapons are unmatched. Our technology is centuries ahead of theirs." He gritted his teeth. Focus fire. Destroy it now. Meanwhile, on the bridge of the USS Dauntless, Captain Elena Hayes remained calm. Her crew moved with a quiet precision, their actions practiced, rehearsed, yet alive with urgency. Shields at full strength. Keep the energy distribution steady. Monitor their trajectory. Fire only when the target is perfectly aligned, she ordered. Her voice carried no fear, only focus, a beacon of calm in the chaos of an incoming storm. The aliens launched their next attack. Beams of green energy streaked across space, converging on the human ship. The shields flared brightly, absorbing the assault with no visible damage. Sparks and energy arcs danced across the surface, but the ship remained intact. Lieutenant Reynolds looked at Elena, wide-eyed. Captain?
It's holding!
Nothing's breaking through. Elena's lips curled in a small, determined smile. It always holds. Humans adapt, we endure, and we strike back. Watch closely, Mark, watch closely. With a swift motion, she activated the ship's plasma cannons. The human warship fired with deadly precision. One after another, the plasma bolts hit the alien ship's vulnerable points. Explosions rippled through the front line of the Armada. Hulls buckled, shields collapsed, and alarms blared. The alien commanders stared in shock. Their fleet, unmatched in size and firepower, was faltering because of one small human vessel. Varkon's pride turned to panic. He slammed his clawed hand on the console. How can this be? They are only one ship. They cannot destroy us. One of his lieutenants, trembling, whispered, It's their tactics. They are clever, faster than our calculations. They move unpredictably. We cannot anticipate them. Varkon's antennae twitched violently. His voice rose with frustration and fear. Focus, target the weapon systems. Focus fire on the engines. Crush them. But the human ship was already moving, fluid and precise, dodging their massive attacks with uncanny speed. Every maneuver was calculated, yet it looked effortless. Dauntless darted between alien warships like a bird weaving through storm clouds. It fired again, striking multiple alien vessels with pinpoint accuracy. Each strike left sparks, shattered armor, and chaos in its wake. In the Armada, whispers of doubt grew louder. Fear began to creep into the hearts of even the bravest alien soldiers. They had never faced such a thing. Every world they had conquered fell without struggle, yet this one human ship was rewriting the rules of war. On the bridge of the Dauntless, Elena's gaze remained steady. They think numbers win battles, she said softly, almost to herself. But they forget one thing. Humans fight with heart, with courage, and that cannot be measured. A flash of determination passed over her crew. They were small, outnumbered, and yet they moved as one. Every officer, every crew member understood the stakes. Humanity was not just surviving, they were sending a message. Varkon clenched his claws, his rage and confusion mixing with fear. Impossible. No species should withstand us. Yet they do. They dare to fight back. The stars around the battlefield seemed to witness the clash, as if space itself held its breath. In that moment, one truth became clear. This was no ordinary fight. Humanity was here, and for the first time, the alien Armada would face the consequences of underestimating a species with the courage to stand against them. Varkon's fury grew as he watched his fleet falter. The alien Armada, proud and unstoppable for centuries, was beginning to break under the assault of a single human warship. Sparks flew from the front line of ships, shields flickered and failed, and explosions painted the darkness of space in violent bursts of green and orange. The aliens had never faced anything like this. Not even the fiercest of their conquered species had dared resist so boldly. How can this be? One alien officer muttered, his voice trembling. They are only one ship. One fragile ship. Varkon's antenna twitched violently. His pride, once unshakable, now cracked with doubt. Focus fire. Concentrate everything on the human vessel, he roared. Do not let it move.
Do not let it strike again.
But the humans were already one step ahead. The USS Dauntless darted through the chaos like a phantom, striking the aliens where they were weakest and vanishing before retaliation could reach it. Captain Elena Hayes guided her ship with calm precision, every command measured, every maneuver calculated. Her crew moved as one, their hearts beating together with determination and courage. Lieutenant Reynolds watched the alien ships crumble one by one. Captain, they're losing formation. Our attacks are working. Elena's eyes never wavered. It's not just the attacks, Mark. They are learning something today. They will learn humans do not surrender. Varkon's frustration turned to panic. He could feel his fleet slipping through his grasp. Ships collided as pilots tried desperately to follow impossible patterns. Energy weapons misfired. The precision and coordination that had always defined the Armada were gone. Chaos had replaced their arrogance. Commander Varkon, another officer said, fear creeping into his voice. They are too fast, too clever. Our calculations, they do not account for their unpredictability. Varkon's four eyes widened in disbelief. Unpredictability? They are thinking, they are anticipating. This is impossible! Meanwhile, the Dauntless glided through the battlefield calm as a storm at sea. Its small silhouette moved like a dart, striking critical points of the alien ships and slipping into the darkness before retaliation. Each strike left alien vessels smoking and shattered. Each strike sent a ripple of disbelief through the enemy ranks. On the bridge, Captain Hayes turned to her crew. Every world we protect, every life we save depends on this. Remember that. We are not just fighting for ourselves. We are fighting for humanity. And humanity never gives up. Her words carried a quiet power. The crew moved with renewed vigor, their hearts steady, their focus unbroken. They were small against the Armada, yes, but their courage was immeasurable. One by one, the alien ships began to falter, retreating slightly under the human assault, their confidence shaken. Varkon slammed his clawed hand onto the console. Impossible, he shouted, voice echoing across the bridge. No species should withstand us. No species should fight like this. Why? Why are they not afraid? The Armada trembled with fear and confusion. Whispers spread among the alien soldiers. They are stronger than we thought. They are not like any species we have faced. The realization struck deep. For the first time, these conquerors of worlds felt doubt. For the first time, they felt fear. And in that moment, in the cold darkness of space, the humans, tiny, determined, and unyielding, stood as a symbol of resistance. They were proof that courage, skill, and heart could defy even the most powerful force in the galaxy. Varkon stared at the lone ship with a mixture of anger, disbelief, and growing fear. This single human warship against hundreds of his vessels had shown him something no one had ever dared to admit. Humans were not just survivors. Humans were warriors. Humans were dangerous. And for the first time, Varkon wondered if the Armada had made a mistake it could never recover from. The battle raged across the void, a storm of light and metal. Alien warships fired relentlessly, their beams streaking like green lightning across the black canvas of space. Explosions ripped through the front line, sending shards of metal spinning endlessly. The alien Armada, once confident and united, now staggered under the unyielding assault of a single human warship. Commander Varkon's eyes burned with fury and disbelief. His pride, the foundation of his command, had crumbled. Every ship that fell under the precise strikes of the USS Dauntless was a wound to his ego, a crack in the armor of his authority. Focus fire!
Destroy it at all costs!
He screamed, his voice echoing across the bridge of his flagship. But the human ship moved like a ghost, elusive and relentless. Captain Elena Hayes observed the chaos with a calm heart. Her crew responded to her every command with fluid precision, the ship weaving between fire and debris. Engage the left flank, she ordered softly. Aim for the engines. Hit hard and fast. Each command flowed naturally, a symphony of strategy and skill. They were not just firing weapons, they were orchestrating hope, defiance, and the spirit of humanity itself. Lieutenant Reynolds, his eyes wide with awe, whispered, Captain, every shot we take, they falter. Every strike we make. It works. Elena's gaze never left the battlefield. That's because we are more than our weapons, Mark. Courage, timing, and heart, they cannot calculate that. That is what makes humans unstoppable. The alien fleet began to collide with itself in the confusion. Ships misjudged distances, shields failed to synchronize, and panic spread among the ranks. Smaller vessels tumbled into larger ones, causing chain reactions of damage. Alarms screamed through the fleet as officers struggled to regain control. Varkon's claws slammed against the console. Sweat dripped from his brow. Impossible. One ship. Just one ship. And they fight like this? He could feel his authority slipping, the fear growing among his soldiers like a poisonous shadow. Do not retreat.
Attack! Destroy them!
But the humans were already a step ahead. The Dauntless fired another precise volley, hitting critical points in the alien formation. One massive dreadnought lost its shields entirely, sparks and fire erupting from its hull. Another ship veered off course, crippled by a series of plasma strikes. The Armada faltered under the realization that they were not facing an ordinary enemy. They were facing a force that could think, adapt, and strike with unyielding determination. In the alien ranks, whispers of fear grew louder. "This is unnatural," one officer said. "No species should be able to fight like this." Varkon's pride was replaced with dread. His voice trembled as he shouted, "We underestimated them. We underestimated the humans." On the Dauntless, Elena's calm remained unbroken. She turned to her crew, her voice steady and commanding. "We do not stop. We do not falter. Every world we protect depends on our courage. Humans never give up, and neither do we." Her words carried power more than any weapon. The crew fought with renewed vigor, their hearts synchronized in a rhythm of defiance. Each maneuver, each strike was more than a battle tactic, it was a declaration. Humanity would not bend. Humanity would not bow. Humanity would fight. As the battle intensified, the alien armada began to retreat slightly, chaos and fear breaking through their formations. They had power, but the humans had something more: courage, skill, and heart. Varkon's mind raced, realizing that no matter their size or firepower, the Armada could not overcome the determination of a species willing to stand against them, even alone. The stars around the battlefield seemed to shine brighter, as if witnessing a miracle. A single human warship had turned the tide of what seemed an impossible battle. Humanity was no longer underestimated. Humanity was feared, respected, and admired. Varkon stared at the lone human vessel, disbelief etched across his features. The realization settled like ice in his chest. The humans were not weak. They were not fragile. They were something far more dangerous than he had ever imagined. And in the heart of the storm, the USS Dauntless pressed onward, small, determined, and unstoppable. The battlefield of stars trembled with fire and explosions. The alien armada, once a perfect, unstoppable force, now moved in chaos. Sparks and smoke trailed behind crippled ships, and alarms blared endlessly. Commander Varkon's pride had been shattered, replaced by fear that gnawed at his every thought. He could not believe what he was witnessing. A single human warship had torn through his formation with precision, courage, and skill that no alien mind had predicted. "Focus. Do not let them advance," Varkon barked, his claws slamming against the console. "They are only one ship. One ship cannot destroy hundreds of our vessels." But the USS Dauntless was not just one ship. It was a storm contained in a sleek hull, a combination of human ingenuity, strategy, and determination. Captain Elena Hayes guided her vessel with calm focus, her eyes scanning every movement, her mind calculating strikes and defenses. Every attack the aliens made, she anticipated. Every opening she saw, she exploited. Lieutenant Reynolds watched in awe as their plasma cannons struck a massive alien dreadnought. Sparks exploded across its hull, shields failed, and the enormous vessel wobbled helplessly. "Captain, that ship." It's going down," Elena finished, her voice steady. "Concentrate on their largest vessels. Every strike counts. Hit where it hurts the most." The human ship moved with unmatched precision, dodging beams, slipping past defenses, and striking critical points again and again. Alien ships collided in panic, their formations breaking under the relentless human assault. What had once seemed impossible, the survival of a single ship against an entire armada, was now reality. The humans were winning. Varkon's mind raced. This was not just skill or luck. This was something deeper. Humans fought with heart, with courage, with a fire that no amount of weaponry could extinguish. He realized with a chill that they had underestimated not just a ship, but a species that refused to surrender no matter the odds. "Commander Varkon, their precision, their strategy, it is beyond our calculations," one officer whispered, fear in his voice. "We cannot predict them. We cannot match them." Varkon felt a tremor of dread in his chest. "We underestimated them. We underestimated humans," he muttered almost to himself. The word underestimated tasted bitter, foreign, like poison. For centuries, the Armada had crushed all opposition, and now, one small human warship had brought them to the edge of collapse. The Dauntless fired again, this time at the lead dreadnought, the largest and most powerful ship in the alien fleet. The plasma bolt struck with unerring accuracy, slicing through the hull and igniting internal systems. The explosion was massive, shaking nearby ships and sending a shockwave of fear through the remaining alien vessels. Varkon's eyes widened as he watched his pride, his power and his certainty crumble in front of him. His fleet, the one he had always believed unstoppable, was now faltering. Sparks, fire, and twisted metal floated in the void as evidence of the humans' deadly precision. "Retreat," he finally commanded, his voice trembling. We cannot face them." But even in retreat, the aliens were scarred, humiliated, and broken in spirit. The human ship, small and battered, stood. Alone in the darkness, a lone guardian against overwhelming odds. Its shields flickered faintly, its hull bearing the marks of countless attacks, yet it remained unbroken. Captain Hayes looked out at the fleeing alien vessels, her heart steady but heavy. She knew the fight was not over for the galaxy, but this day had shown something essential. Humans, even alone, could face the impossible. And in that moment, the universe learned a lesson it would never forget. Varkon, watching from his retreating flagship, finally understood the truth. Humans were not just resilient, they were extraordinary. And remorse, heavy and undeniable, settled over the alien commander like a shadow. They had underestimated humanity, and now they had paid the price. The USS Dauntless drifted silently among the wreckage, its lone presence a statement of defiance, courage, and the undeniable spirit of a species unwilling to yield. The alien Armada was in retreat, a broken and trembling shadow of the force it had once been. Ships that had bristled with power now drifted aimlessly through space, smoke and sparks trailing from damaged hulls. Commander Varkon stared at the distant human warship, disbelief and fear etched across his face. This was not just a ship, it was a symbol, a force that had shattered the pride of an entire fleet. "Captain, they are falling back," whispered one of his officers, voice trembling. We cannot regroup fast enough." Varkon's antennae twitched, his four eyes narrowing. Pride battled fear in his chest, but fear won. "This is unacceptable," he muttered. "We underestimated them. One human ship has done this." Across the void, the USS Dauntless glided silently, its shields flickering faintly from the relentless attacks it had endured. Captain Elena Hayes stood on the bridge, calm but resolute. She did not celebrate, she did not relax. The humans had survived the impossible, yes, but there was still a galaxy to protect. Her crew, though exhausted, moved with quiet determination, each one inspired by her unwavering courage. Lieutenant Reynolds glanced at her, eyes shining with pride. "Captain, we did it. They're retreating." Elena shook her head slightly, a soft smile playing on her lips. "Mark, we survived, yes. But victory is not ours yet. Remember this feeling. The courage, the focus, the refusal to give up. That is humanity. That is why we will always be ready for whatever comes next." The aliens were regrouping, their confidence shattered, their fear growing. They had expected a swift victory, the kind they had taken for granted in countless wars. Instead, they faced a species that fought with heart, that adapted and that refused to yield. The humans had not just defended themselves, they had sent a message to the galaxy. Varkon watched his fleet, shame and regret weighing heavily on him. "We misjudged them," he admitted quietly, almost to himself. "We should have never attacked humanity." In the bridge of the Dauntless, Elena turned her gaze toward the stars beyond. The remnants of the alien Armada drifted away, leaving behind broken ships and shattered pride. Humanity had shown that courage could outweigh numbers, that determination could defy raw power. Her voice was calm, but filled with quiet strength. "This is the way we survive, crew. Not by hiding, not by surrendering, but by standing our ground, by fighting for what matters, and by never underestimating the heart of humans." The crew nodded, inspired by her words. They had faced death, had stared into the fire of 1,000 alien weapons, and yet they were still here. Each one felt the weight of what they had done, not just surviving, but proving something greater, that humans could stand alone against overwhelming odds. Varkon, on his retreating flagship, could not ignore the lesson he had learned. Humans were not just another species to conquer. They were resilient, clever, and fearless. The thought of facing them again filled him with a sense of dread he had never known. For the first time, he felt the sting of remorse, knowing that arrogance had led his fleet to humiliation. Meanwhile, the USS Dauntless sailed on, battered but unbowed, a single vessel shining like a beacon in the darkness. Its crew knew that this was more than a battle. It was proof that even in the void of space, courage could triumph over fear, skill could overcome size, and humanity's spirit could stand unbroken against the impossible. The stars themselves seemed to bear witness, their cold light reflecting off the human ship's hull as if recognizing the courage it carried. The galaxy had seen what humans were capable of, and the echoes of this battle would be felt for generations. Captain Hayes looked at her crew and spoke softly, her words carrying through the bridge. Remember this day. Remember who we are. We fight not because we are the strongest, but because we never give up, and that is how humanity will always survive. And in that quiet moment, amidst the wreckage of the alien armada and the silent expanse of space, one truth was clear: humans could endure anything, and no force in the galaxy could ever take away their courage. The alien armada disappeared into the darkness, leaving a trail of broken ships, flickering lights, and shattered pride. Commander Varkon's 4 eyes, usually full of pride and command, were now heavy with shame. For the first time in his life, he had seen the consequences of underestimating a species. One small human warship had destroyed their confidence, crippled their formation, and left them humbled in ways no one could have imagined. This should never have happened, Varkon whispered, voice trembling. One ship, one human ship. Back on the bridge of the USS Dauntless, Captain Elena Hayes stood silently, staring into the void where the alien fleet had vanished. Her crew moved quietly around her, exhausted, their hands and faces smudged with the strain of battle. Yet there was no fear, only pride and a sense of purpose that ran deeper than any victory. They had survived the impossible. They had proven that humanity could stand against any threat, no matter how vast or powerful. Lieutenant Reynolds finally broke the silence. Captain, they're gone. We did it. We survived. Elena turned to him with a calm, unwavering gaze. Yes, Mark, we survived. But more than that, we sent a message. Humans are not a species to be taken lightly. We fight with courage, with heart, and we never surrender. The crew nodded, hearts swelling with quiet triumph. Each one understood the significance of their victory. This was not just a win for the Dauntless or for its crew. It was a win for humanity. For every human who had ever been told they were weak, too small or powerless, this battle proved that the spirit of a determined species could overcome the impossible. In the distance, Varkon's mind replayed every moment of the fight, the precise strikes, the evasive maneuvers, the courage that refused to falter. He felt remorse heavier than any weapon could inflict. We underestimated them, he admitted quietly. We brought war to humans, and they taught us what it means to fight with heart. The remnants of the alien armada drifted silently, broken and humbled. Their pride was gone, replaced by fear, doubt, and regret. Across their ships, whispers of humility spread among the officers and soldiers alike. One by one, they realized the truth. Humans were not merely a species. Humans were a force defined by resilience, courage, and the unbreakable will to survive. On the Dauntless, Elena allowed herself a brief moment to breathe. She glanced at her crew, each one weary but unbroken. Remember this day, she said softly. We have faced the impossible and emerged stronger. Humanity has endured, and we will endure again, whatever comes. The ship glided through the quiet stars, its hull scarred but intact. It carried not just a crew, but a legacy, a message for every being in the galaxy who dared underestimate humans. Courage could outweigh numbers, determination could outmatch technology, and heart. Heart could never be calculated, predicted, or destroyed. Varkon, retreating into the distant reaches of space, made a silent vow. We will never make this mistake again, he whispered, his voice heavy with remorse. Humans, they are not to be trifled with. And far beyond the battlefield, across the silent void, the USS Dauntless shone like a beacon. Its small size belied the strength it carried. Its presence told a story of courage, of determination, and of a species that refused to bow. Humanity had survived the impossible. Humanity had stood alone against 1,000 weapons, and humanity had won. The stars themselves seemed to acknowledge it. In the quiet, cold vastness of space, a message echoed silently. No matter the enemy, no matter the odds, humans fight. And when humans fight, the galaxy must take notice. Captain Hayes looked to the horizon of stars, her heart steady and proud. She whispered almost to herself, We are humans. We endure, we fight. and we will always survive. And with that, the USS Dauntless sailed onward, a solitary guardian in the infinite darkness, carrying the unbroken spirit of humanity into the galaxy, leaving a mark that would never be forgotten.